Hey, it's Kyle back with 10 Toes Podcast. I got my other co-host, Nelson Rodriguez, here today.
What's up, guys?
I invited Nelson because Nelson is a big organized crime guy.
Yeah. I'm super into
and
the
he's done a
mob
few
stuff.
shows with us. But our special guest today is Rosario Liotta, the author of Bread and Bullets. You can get this book on Amazon right now. Let's jump right into it. Why is the book called Bread and Bullets?
Well, I was a baker. I grew up a baker. You know what I mean? And I always had bullets on me. No. No, but actually it's bread and bullets, yeah. Because I had my gun permit for like 35 years, actually.
So you started off as a baker in New York?
Yeah, we own big wholesale bakeries up in New York City.
Okay.
And you used to deliver bread?
All over the place.
And then I guess you started a life of crime.
I started to come to New York. I went to Florida. My friends were all down here, so I came down to help them out with stuff down here. I used to fly back and forth, you know? Yeah.
So prior to what happened, you were never like affiliated with anything with crime. You never broke the law.
I was just a regular knockdown guy, you know.
Really?
My dad had a big business, so I always had a lot of money. I had a lot of exotic cars. I had a good life growing up, you know.
Okay.
So yeah, but I never really got in trouble that much, you know.
Interesting.
So then when you did get in trouble, you decided to do it big.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure it was a good one.
So we're going to stay away from like the intricacies and the boring part of it. But, you know, we were just talking about off camera that if you Google your name, there's a big down here. We film in Fort Lauderdale, and there's a big chain down here, Miami Subs. Everybody knows it because it's all tricked out like Miami Vice.
And also the Sun Cruz Casino he owned.
And
Okay.
the guy that owned Miami Subs, was he a made guy?
His name was Constantine Gus Boulis. He came from Greece.
Okay.
Okay, and what happened was the Indians used to just have bingo. They never really had any craps or anything like that. Okay, and in Washington, they got Jack Abramoff, was George Bush's lobbyist. If you look it up.
Right, you made me watch the movie before you'd come.
Yeah,
I
you
watched
did? You watched
Casino
it?
Jack. Yeah, I had to watch it like
At
3
the end,
times.
you seen what happened. They killed him.
Yeah.
Okay, but
That's the greatest. Have you seen this movie?
it's unbelievable.
No, I gotta watch
Casino
it.
John
Jack,
Lovitz.
like one of the best
what's the
movies
name of the
ever.
movie?
Right? John
Casino
Lovitz?
Jack, and it's not
Kevin
even that old.
Spacey.
I think it's like 2010 maybe.
Kevin Spacey plays Jack Abramoff.
I gotta check
But
it out.
that's the end of the movie. That book is based on it. It's the longest case in Florida history, as a matter of fact.
And it's a true story about
True
how
story.
they went from just bingo halls to
Yeah.
Full-blown casinos.
the Hard Rock Casino.
Exactly. Well, he changed the law saying that they could do craps and all the other stuff. I don't think they had craps. Yeah, they might have had craps, slot machines. So they were making tons of money. They were opening them up all over the place. And what happened is that Gus Boulis, like I said, he used to own Gusto's and the Keys. He was a really smart businessman, and he owned all Miami Subs, Sun Cruz. He started a company called Moons Over Miami, was part of this thing. But he started buying old cruise ships, big ships,
Right.
and he would take them 3 miles out and gamble. Okay, so
Genius.
he started taking money.
That
Like
was
they
very
do in New
smart.
Orleans, right?
Do what?
They do that same thing in
Yeah,
New Orleans.
same thing
Yeah,
like that. But,
but
he
those
did
are
it.
like steamboats,
He
right? Those are like
these are regular ships.
Right.
And he did it here in Florida, right here. And it was taking money away from the Indians. So the Indians, well, I guess, was giving pressure to Jack Abramoff. You know what I mean? Because he was getting kickback from all of them. You see what
Right, of
Washington
course.
is
Right.
now. So once he did that, he was trying to get it that they're not doing it anymore. So he changed. This is how smart them lobbyists is. He changed the law in Washington that he had to be born in America to own a vessel, which was anything over 100 feet.
interesting.
Yeah, so he changed it
Wow.
in Washington.
Just to prevent this.
Right. So then he comes down here and he goes to Miami Subs. He got a guy, I remember when I was young, it was called the Mattress Giant up in New York.
I remember
Oh, I know
Mattress
the
Giant.
Mattress Giant, yeah.
Okay, he's a
With
fat
the
Jewish guy,
ooh-ah
but he's a
commercial.
fat Jewish guy, and he's also known as the Bagel King. He owned bagel joints. This guy went partners with Jack Abramoff, okay? And what happened, when he went partners with him, they got everything going really good, you know what I mean? So now, when he got the law changed, now they go to Gus, they come down here and they tell him, listen, you're not going to be able to own this anymore. It's going to be changed in like 6-8 months. But what we're going to do with you, he said, we're going to buy you out. Not really, but we're going to buy you out, say, for, I don't know what the numbers are, $300 million. But what you're going to do, you're going to give us back $100 million, and I'm in Washington. I'm going to get a loan for $300 million with cheap interest, and we'll buy more vessels, and you're going to be a part of the whole thing. And that's how it all started. You got it?
Okay.
Okay, it happened from Washington, you know? Okay, after they did that, he started, Gus never got paid. I guess whatever terminology did, the wife knew about the deal, and he never got paid. What Gus does, he goes all the way to Long Island. If you're watching the movie, remember he stabs him with the pen?
Yeah, I remember that part.
In the office? Yeah, he goes, you're going to fucking pay me. He stabs him with the pen. Can I curse on this thing?
Yeah,
he
stabs,
it's a true crime podcast, brother.
He stabs him in the neck, and he said, I'm going to get Pepper. So now they're scared. So he goes into Little Italy and gets that guy. I don't want to say the names, but one of the Italian guys. Okay, once he gets him, they come up here to talk to Gus, and Gus said, like, I don't give a fuck about you Italian guys. I want my motherfucking money. And that's when they wound up whacking him in Fort Lauderdale.
And then you whacked
Now,
that
I don't
guy.
know. I'm already in prison for hurting somebody.
So, and then you end up going back to prison or getting more time.
I'm in prison.
Okay.
And my dad, I called my father, and they tell me,
You're in state prison.
yeah, I'm in state, right. I think I was in South Bay. Yeah,
Okay.
I was there like 5 years. Anyway, so I said, he goes, you're all over the news. They're picking you up tomorrow. I go, who's picking me up? He says, you're all over the newspaper here, New York, all over. I said, holy shit. So, when you're in prison, you're going, you start giving your shit out. You know what I mean? I have all this stuff, I'm in like 5 years. I give out my stuff. Sure enough, they come and get me at nighttime, bring me to Martin, the main unit, and now they come and get me in the morning. So
and this was to face federal charges?
Well, no. Federal comes in, I'll show you.
Okay.
So once they bring me to Martin, okay, I get to Martin. When I get to Martin, they come and take me. They take me to Broward. So I'm in the van. Remember the microwave? You guys know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm in the microwave. I'm by myself in there. There's a car behind us. We're going to, I felt like Charles Manson. It was fucking crazy. I'm going to Broward. I get to Broward. They put the stairs. They open the doors. There's three cameras in the sky. Them big
like the big news cameras.
Yeah, news cameras. I'm like, fuck, what the fuck? Because I don't know yet. Nobody told me. You know what I mean? So I got my handcuffs. I come down and I look to the left. There's two vans more, and all feds are coming out of there.
Oh wow!
They're coming out of the van. You see the uniforms. I knew right away, but I knew like one or two guys. I just seen them. I don't really know them. So anyway, so when we get us and they put us in the police station, once we get there, we change into the jail clothes.
Right.
Now they bring us in a big room like this, a holding tank. So I go in, I see that guy. I knew him really good, so I'm looking. I don't say anything. I'm in the corner. So the lieutenant comes with a big country boy sheriff, huge, like 6'7". You know what I mean?
Yep.
And he goes, Liotta, yelling, big black lieutenant. Get over here. Now he's calling all the guys. I told you this, right? He's calling all the guys. So now, he goes, stand here. So I'm standing there. All of a sudden, they come back and he goes to the offices. He goes, why would you put all these guys on that mob trial in the same freaking cell? He's yelling at them and shit, you know what I mean? Now he comes over by us and he goes, did you get your story straight? So I'm a fucking wise ass. So I go, no, I want to fucking talk to this guy right here. Can I have 2 minutes with him? He goes, take him upstairs now. So now they put me right in. I was in maximum security.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't have to go in a box or nothing, And the psychiatrist comes every week. I was there like six months.
Damn.
I was telling them jokes. You know what I mean? I was working out, air conditioning, fuck it,
So they came to pick you up while you were in prison already?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Something unrelated, something different.
No, but he was involved with that case.
Right, but I'm saying if you were already in prison, bring that.
Okay, why they called me is because Adam Kadan, the Beggar boss, the magistrate, they put him on a trial. He did a deposition, and they said, who actually did the murder? And he goes, he was killed in a deli in Boca Raton by his partner. That was me. And that's when they came
That's when they came and got you.
So you were in the deli in Boca Raton at the time?
Yeah, I used to own I was opening up a Panero concept with my bread. I owned a big whole bakery. That's why it's bread and butter.
The office is filled. We're going to be getting eating good for a little bit here.
But that's what happened. Then once they started doing that, then the feds came in. They bring me and they put me in a room. Then one day they brought me to that other place, and they were asking me questions, showing me pictures, and I'm like, I don't know nobody. You don't know this guy? I said, I don't know anybody. That guy's your uncle. I said, I never really got along with him. I don't know what he looks like.
And that's what you're supposed to do, though.
All these pictures. And they,
I don't know that guy.
And they go like this, you know this guy? I go, no. He goes, that's you. I had a long ponytail. I said, listen, because what happened was when they brought me in, you know, when you're in prison, my glasses broke. So I took a post off another pair of glasses, you know, to put on. I altered it. So he took my glasses. I couldn't see shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I said, I really can't see nothing, you know? But that's what they were like trying to make me say something. That I said, listen, I had nothing to do with this. I don't know what you're trying to get. So now what happens is they're getting really mad. So now I go, the guy gave me a card. I said to him, give me a card. He gave me a card. Oh, wait. Okay, that's it. When I went there like that. But then I went back to, now I'm in Martin County. Wait, let me see. Let me stop. No, I'm in South Bay. So now I go back and I call my father from South Bay. And I go, Dad, listen, the feds were here. You know what I'm saying? Organized Crime Unit, FBI, New York City. That's what it said on the card.
Right.
And I said, you got to call Duncan. You know, so Duncan made the calls. And then they had another schedule. And I went with him in a room with, I think it was one guy or two guys. I'm not sure. And that's when they started asking me like a lot of questions. And I said, listen, man, you know, why'd you kill him? I said, listen, I had nothing to do with that other stuff. I'm just finding out about it now. So now, you know, I mean, they're asking me all these questions and this and that. And then, you know, they were getting like kind of strong with me. And I was like, I said, I told that one guy, he was in there. I never forget, one guy had a toupee. One guy had a toupee, you know, fake
Oh my
fake
God.
toupee.
What year is this?
Whatever, 2000 something.
Right.
Yeah, 5 or something. I don't remember. But anyway, but he had a toupee. That's how I remember him, right? And the other guy, he was like the tough guy, you know what I mean? I said, listen, man, I don't know nothing. I don't even want to talk to you. And now my lawyer comes and we're talking to them. And they were getting more pissy. And I go like this, man. I go, you know what? Take my cuffs off. You know what I mean? Is that what you want? You want to fight with me? You act treat me like a fucking Mama Luke. You know what I mean?
Right.
I said, I'm not no Mama Luke. I was a legitimate businessman. I got caught up in this thing, and it's, you know what I mean? He goes, what are you, a tough guy? I said, listen, take him off. You know what I mean? We got time. This place is big enough. I was joking with him. He was getting so mad. So my lawyer made him take me out. They didn't want me to get me out. So they take me out. Because we don't know what they knew. You got it?
So you can't say anything.
Yeah, no, we want to know why they wanted to talk to me.
Right.
So my lawyer, I had David Bogenshoot and then Roth and Duncan, the one that had the polo kid, remember?
Yep, I remember that guy.
I spent money on lawyers, you know. So now once he's telling me all this stuff, David's talking to him. We found out that the guy that I killed was the guy that killed him. So now he's not a suspect anymore. I killed him. He was a victim.
Right.
Now he's a suspect in the murder.
Wow.
We needed that. You know what I'm saying? Just so I could go back to court and try to get a motion.
Right.
You know what I mean? So now they take me back to the jail. I'm in the jail. I was there a long time. They kept on telling me.
Now I understand. You were already in there for what you did, and then they found out that he was a suspect in that murder. Now I get it. Okay, now I get it. Yeah.
So now the feds was, I guess, because all the guys that were feds that they brought. You know what I'm saying? So they must have talked to me because they were all together. I guess.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because everybody was ratting each other out. I wasn't ratting nobody. I already had 15 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then, yeah.
I want to ask you something. So, but there was no retaliation? Because none whatsoever?
No.
I mean, that's pretty wild. They kind of just let it
our
go
fathers
after.
know each other. They knew each other. He was a bad dude, man. You know what I mean?
So everybody just they square like, you know what? He was an asshole.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I don't care. I mean, everybody says you're scared. What's gonna happen? I'll be retired, right?
Right. All right. So they take you back to state prison.
Yeah, I'm in state prison, and then no, now that I'm there 6-7 months up there.
Okay.
So they take me to homicide division for. I forgot the guy's name. He was a tall guy. He was in charge of Broward homicide. A really big guy, like 6'8". And they take me, you know, to there, and it says organized crime unit, you know, for, you know, Broward homicide division. I look, when they brought me in, I made the board. I was on the board.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I see my picture. And I didn't have glasses. So I'm like, I go to the guy, I go, that looks like me. Is that me? He goes, just get in there. So they bring me in there. So now I'm shackled, you know, with the box. So they bring me in. And so there was a board table, like with maybe, I'm talking like the whole thing, maybe like 20 lawyers and shit.
Oh, wow.
Maybe 15 and a court stenographer, you know? So when I walk in there, They said you're going to be a while. We're going to talk to you. I said, well, I'm not talking like this. I said, I was in work release, so I was with women and children in the parks cutting trees, machetes, chainsaws. I go, I don't want to be in this fucking thing, but it's what I'm charged with. You know that?
Right.
They get what you're charged with. That's what they got to do.
Right.
Even if you're in the public, it didn't matter. So I said, so the guy goes like this, take his cuffs off. They said, we can't. These two big guys, big cops. He goes, we can't take it off. He goes, get somebody. So they go around, they're trying to find somebody. I'm standing there. Finally, the guy comes in. He said, the best we could do, we're bringing in another chair. We'll handcuff him to the chair. So I was handcuffed to the chair. I had this hand. I said, I need this hand to talk with.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So they handcuffed me there. And the court stenographer girl was right here. And she was really nice. And I was cursing. I said, I'm really sorry. I'm going to be saying a lot of motherfuckers this, a lot of motherfuckers that. She's like, oh, it's okay. You know what I mean? So now they just, one by one, they're all asking me questions, you know? And I went through that for like weeks.
So did you finally end up with federal charges?
No, I didn't get federal charges, but they kept on bringing me to talk.
To question you.
Right. Yeah, questioning.
But you couldn't give them anything.
I had nothing, just pictures. You know what I mean? But it's the truth, you know what I mean? They were just asking me questions. Even the state people too, you know? They had a bunch of them. I don't know where they got them from, like a lot. Old ones, old pictures.
Where'd you do your time?
I started in South Bay. That was great. It was air conditioned. Then I went to Moorhaven. Then I went to, I had to get, I was in Moorhaven, then South Bay. Once I was in South Bay, I had to get out because they dropped my custody. I got my level lower so I could go to work release. You know, I want to get outside, you know. I want to work. I was 47, almost 50. So once they dropped my custody, I went into it takes a long time to actually go out in the field. Right. So I was on the property, you know, with my regular stuff. And then I was actually in all the places, you know, doing landscaping, environmental control, tar on the roads. I did everything. They knew when I was around. I had to spray all these non-native things to Florida. I used to have the tank the guy was cutting. I would click it on, and I would be walking like all over the place. They empty the tank to get back there. And the next time we went back there, you'd see the lines of where I was. I had fun. I tried to make the best of it. You know what I mean?
Of course.
I worked out. Yeah.
So the guy that you had the deli with in Boca is the guy that killed Gus Boulis.
There was 3 guys with me.
One of them was the guy that killed Gus Boulis.
No, what happened? I owned a big place. It was Z Bakery. Okay. And we were doing the concept of Panera because I had a big factory. They bought the factory from me. I used to own Rosario's Corner Bakery. It was like 18,000 square feet. Had like maybe 16 trucks. And I sold it to these guys, but I wound up being part owners. They wanted me to stay. They said, Rosario's Rosario, we need you, you know? So I made a deal to stay with them. And then we opened up Z Bakery. So I'm in the food business. I could do anything. So I went to Z Bakery, which was right next to where I had the incident with the guy.
Right.
So I went in there and I started cooking and doing all this stuff there. I made this concept with all bread. We had the best bread, you know? And that's how I got to that spot. And then the guys didn't pay me. Then we had a problem. They owed me money. I made a deal with them, and they messed up. And
this is how, okay.
And I had some problems. I went after them and stuff.
But what's the, I mean, so you're not connected to the case other than this guy.
Yeah. The guy that killed him. I'm connected.
But how did that guy, I guess I'm confused about like the guy who killed Gus Boulis was one of the guys that was part of the company that bought the bakery.
No, he was going to buy the bakery. When I got out of the bakery, I opened up this little Jewish deli because I was mad because they weren't paying me. And I just opened in the same shopping center. So I went to this Jewish bakery that wasn't doing good. I said, listen, here's cash. You're my partner, I told him. I made him an offer, you know what I mean? I said, you're my partner, you know what I mean? So I took over the place and I started cooking in there. And that's where the incident was in there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I was right down the block, like a couple of stores away from the original one. Yeah.
So let's go back and talk. No, I'm not worried about that. Let's go back to the big story, which is how walk us again through the whole casino thing.
Okay, the Indians, they only had bingo.
Right, and this like the Seminoles.
Yeah, right. They had just bingo. Okay, Jack Abramoff, George Bush's lobbyist from Washington, he was trying to lobby for them. This way they could get blackjack and slots and all that stuff. Okay, and he wound up winning, and he got it. So now that's when they started opening up the bigger casinos. Okay?
So without Jack Abramoff, without the Florida Indians, the Indians across the whole country wouldn't have casinos?
It was just Florida Indians.
Okay, it was just Florida Indians.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's how it all started. And because Gus bought these ships and started taking business away, Jack Abramoff tried to stop it, and that's when he changed the law. This is all stuff that I learned from the people when they were talking about it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I know if you look it up, well, you've seen it, right? With
of
the
course,
Indians,
in the
you've
movie.
seen it in the movie, so you know I'm telling the truth, you know? But they got to watch the movie and they got to buy the book. My book's amazing. I'm old now, right?
10 Toes Podcast, live studio audience today. So
they bulletproof them glasses.
Definitely not.
Listen, they might be, but I'm going to warn you. I'm going to warn you, Rosario. I just said them today, so it might not be too good.
But now I forgot what I was telling you.
So you were talking about just the whole. You were writing the book.
You were talking about the book.
Oh yeah. So, I got 2 writers to help me. Because my mind, I'm a photographic. I dropped the 8th grade, but I remember everything. So what happened? I had this one writer that was in California, and she used to fly in and stay with me like for a week or 2. And when I got home from work, she would type and write and tape me. You know what I mean? Then she got sick. She had a heart attack.
Oh wow.
So then I was in prison. When I was in prison, there was a guard that was trying to be a writer. So he went to Burt Reynolds School of Writing and Film, okay? And the writer that's in charge of that is on my book, Donna Carbone, okay? But he wanted to write for me in prison. I said, I ain't writing nothing in here. I'm still here. I ain't fucking saying nothing. You know what I mean? I'm not going to tell him anything. So, but I remember what he said. So after she got sick, I wound up driving up there and I met her. And I negotiated with her and stuff, and then I hired her. And then I used to go there every week. I went there every Saturday.
So tell us some of the stories that are in the book. Like,
well, it's me growing up. I did crazy shit back in the day. You know what I mean? My dad used to have bakeries. Bakeries. We used to get flour deliveries.
Right.
At like 2:00 in the morning. Okay.
So what business was your dad in?
He owned wholesale bakery, big wholesale bakery
in New York.
In Long Island. Yeah. But they used to have stolen it's over 7 years, I don't care. Tractor trailers of flour. I have to go and load it at 1:00 in the morning. You know what I mean? With the high-low and shit. You know what I mean? It was like crazy stuff they made me do, when I was little, young. Yeah.
I mean, that kind of stuff happened, I guess, 50 years ago?
Yeah, it happened all. As a matter of fact, my dad got arrested back in the day. He got arrested. Now, it was called Operation Doughboy. He was a bookie.
Operation Doughboy?
Yeah, because he owned big wholesale bakeries. But he had a lot.
Just move. Yeah,
there you go.
He had a lot of guys working with him, with the numbers. So when they busted everybody. My aunt, my uncles on the whole road. They arrested like 9 people.
So what were they doing? Like going?
They were bookies.
Right. So they were going get the numbers while they were delivering the bread?
No, he just had people working for him. Everybody else got their numbers, I guess. And I was little when I got home. We got home from school. I was a little kid, and the feds were there. They busted in the house, ripped the safe out of the house, the floor. God. We had a hard ranch. It was wooden floors. I never forget. They ripped the safe out. Yeah.
Did your dad do Fed time?
No.
Over this?
No, he almost did. He was close. Yeah.
This was what, like the 70s?
I don't know. We tried to look it up, Operation Doughboys, but that's actually what it was. Yeah, but I don't know. But yeah, I was little. I was like junior high school or elementary school even, but that's why, they were tying it. They were just like that, They were businessmen,
So, and was he made?
Nah, he was just a regular guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he had some friends.
I guess.
Maybe.
Well, you know why Italians don't like Jehovah's Witnesses? We don't like any witnesses.
Of course.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
I had to throw that in there.
What part of New York is this?
I was born in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Knickerbocker Avenue. Ridgewood, they used to call it when I was young.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I moved to Long Island. When I got older, I lived in West Islip, North Baldwin by Rob Moses Causeway up there.
We were literally in New York on Monday.
For the Diddy trial,
for the Diddy trial.
Oh, you seen him?
Yeah.
How do he look, man?
Yeah.
A lot of gray hair.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like himself.
We've been through it. We know.
Of course. So what year did you get out of state prison?
2014.
And did you go back in the bakery business, or what are you doing now?
I kind of when I got out, I was in work release. I went to the fairgrounds, and I opened up a couple of businesses for people. They used to pick me up in the morning and bring me back at nighttime. I was making like $1,200 a week because I worked like 20 hours a day. You know what I mean? I used to bring the check back to the prison, and they're like,
where do you make all this money from?
Yeah,
we have that problem now too.
I worked 7 days. They let me work 7 days because what happened was I was good with nobody messed with me. You know what I mean? I'm good if I have to be. You know, but they never messed with me, and the guards loved me. I said tell them jokes and rank on them and shit. We had fun. You know, so this one guy, he was a colonel, and they put me in the tool room. You know, the tool room?
Yeah.
With all the tools.
Right.
So I kind of needed that for my custody. It was really good. And I paint. So like I looked at what she had up there and I go, look, that wrench. Listen, let me redo the tool room. So I took everything down. Painted the wall, and then I made the design with a pencil and then painted the wrench. This way you look up, you see it's blue, you know the wrench is, and right. I did the whole place. I did everything. So it made time go by for me. That's the way I was, you know. So I had good custody. But the major used to come in there. He was a really nice guy, you know. And I used to fill his gas cans for him to take back to the work camp. And he goes, Liotta, when are you going to go to? I said, I'm waiting. I've been waiting. He goes, hey, give me your number. I gave him my number, and then things started happening. You know what I mean?
You got you to the work camp.
Yeah, I got to the work camp.
So we did Fed time. You know, and most of my friends that are ex-cons, we all did Fed time. I'm always interested to see the difference between the state and the Fed.
Do you guys have work camps and stuff?
We have minimums, and the minimums, most of the minimums are on Army or Navy bases or Air Force bases.
Yeah, you stay on the property.
And then the guys from the prison camp service the base the same way you're talking. Like they do the grass cutting and the
all
painting and all that stuff.
Yeah, but me, I went on every. I used to volunteer and go on to get out of there.
Every detail.
Know? I go, man. I did everything. Farm, post, tar. And you know what? They go to this. It's a scam. The guy that was on the blacktop, we used to go to the same hole like every 3 weeks and open it up and put more tar in it. You know what I'm saying? They just had job security. You know what I'm saying? They go under a bridge. They look because the bridge is leaking underneath. They go underneath. They make a little hole like this. The hole's like this big, you know, when he's done. Now we got to put rocks in there and shit. Everything they did, it's all a scam. Yeah, I'll tell
just
you,
to keep them working.
I tell them.
Just to keep working. I know.
Yeah,
I know exactly
just to
what
make
you're talking about.
It's crazy. You look at it.
It's like this road work, man. They've been doing the road work for 20 years.
Listen, I go to the hole. I put my name on the side and went back there. It was still there, like 6 months later.
Oh, my God.
And we filled it like 3 times. Yeah. It's funny shit, man. And then you're on the truck with all these inmates. There's 5 inmates and 1 guard, you know. I had it in the book. I had a couple episodes on there, too.
Any fun? What are some of the highlights of your inmate trips on the truck?
I did a lot of shit. Okay, well, like I'll tell you one thing. I don't care. There was one guy. So I'm with this one officer. I'm not gonna say his name. He was really a good guy, but he had a mark on his head, and I was just ask him, "How'd you get that mark?" Shut the fuck up. He used to get mad at me, so I used to bust his balls, you know. So anyway, I'm on the truck with him, and so I got a guy with me with tattoos all over his face, a young black kid. Young kid, good with his hands, always fighting and shit. So now I got the tank to spray, and he's got the machete, right? So we're allowed to walk. We got custody, you know, walk in the woods and shit. This guy wants to go like all the way in the fucking bushes and shit. I'm cement. I'm from New York. I don't want to go in no fucking bushes. You know what I mean? I said, concrete. Why are you going in there? You got to cut. You got to spray. I'm going to cut. You could cut whatever you want. I ain't spraying nothing. You're going to fucking spray. I said, I ain't. So we're fighting out there.
Right.
You know what I mean? I said, you say I'm fucking doing nothing. So now the guy beefs the horn. We got to go back to the place to go get our lunch.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we go back. So I tell the officer, I said, I'm not fucking going out with this kid. I'll kill him. You know what I mean? So he goes, calm down, calm down. I'm telling you, don't put me the fuck out with him. So now after lunch, I grab the machete. I ain't going with the tank and following this fucker. So he goes, you got to go with him. The officer, I said, I'm not going with him. I said, listen, I got it up like this. I go, if I go with him, I'm going to cut his fucking head off. And if I cut his head, I got to cut everybody's head. I said that. That's what I said. So now they call panic, and all of a sudden, now I'm waiting for everybody coming. They're going to come and get me. They got the buttons. You know?
Right, yeah.
But I said it as a joke.
Oh, no,
right, yeah, but they didn't take it as a joke.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, so what happened? Now the guys from the prison, they come with the riot gear to come and get me. You know what I mean?
The Ninja Turtles.
I threw the machete. I said, I don't need no motherfucking machete. I said, do me a favor. Before they come, let me take this motherfucker behind here. I want to beat his fucking ass in. So he's telling me he's going to kick my ass in the compound. I said, okay, we'll see. I wanted to get him bad, you know? So now the guys come, they know me, and they're like, Liotta, you got to get on your hands and knees. So I'm a judo master. So I had to put my hand, they handcuff one, they bring it down. So now I go back to the camp. They bring me in. As soon as I go inside the strip room, they take my cuffs off. And they bring me to the lieutenant or the admiral. I don't remember one of them. But they know me. And I said, the fucking guy. I said, he should have never told me how to go with him. I said, I have a problem with him. You know what I mean? And the other guards, they all liked me, and they talked to him, and they wound up scratching it. Nice. So now I go in. This motherfucker wants to fight me. So I'm ready to fucking get more time. So I go, I come out, I put my boots on. I'm going in looking for the fucker. He's sleeping. Yeah. So I grab him. I go, you fucking sleeping? He goes, Liotta, go fuck you too old. Go over there. You know what I mean? It never happened, but I mean, it could have happened.
Right.
Yeah, for nothing. I almost got arrested.
Were you the only Italian guy?
No, there was a couple of them. But I was good. I you know, when I first went to South Bay, you couldn't go in the weight room. You know what I mean? It was 5 guys on each machine. They had there was like 3,000 inmates there.
Oh, wow.
On the half side they had 5 machines, weight, but only 250 pounds. So they had 5 machines and 5 machines on the other yard. But it was right next to each other. The canteen was in the middle. So when you go there, you can't get in. And I used to say, yeah, so I want to go work out. They said, you ain't getting in there. They don't want to, the old bros, they want to just be by themselves. So I go in there, I go, hey, buddy, I want to work out. Can I work out? Man, we got 5. So I picked the biggest guy. This guy had arms like this. So I go, listen, man, I'll buy you a Happy Meal. Whatever you do, I'll do 5 more. You do 30, benches, I'll do 35. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling him, yeah, his arms were so big, but he's working out there. I see him sweating. So, but I just came I was in, in South Florida. So they only had I think 100 pounds. So I wasn't really doing a lot of weights, but I was doing a lot of pull-ups and push-ups. So I'm okay, but I wasn't lifting heavy weights. And I'm messing with him. And finally he says to me, I go, come on, so I tell them all, I go, he's a pussy. He didn't want to do it. The guy's so big. I'm a fucking pussy. So now,
oh my God.
So now I make friends with him. He goes, all right, come on. I said, you go first. Whatever you do, I'll do 5 more. And he gets underneath and he's tired. I knew it, you know what I mean? And he's doing 15, it was 250 pounds, maybe 18, you know what I mean? And that was it. He goes, all right, go. I said, I'll do 5 more now. So I get underneath it. I haven't lifted no weights. I haven't done anything, but I did push-ups. I do them off the pipes. I always did something. So I get underneath it, and I'm going real easy, slow. And I'm and he's laughing with the guys. And I fucking went. I did 25 or something. And I said, but I'm going to buy these Happy Meals anyway because I had money. So I bought them all Happy Meals, and I went to work out every day.
Wow.
Yeah, you just got to treat them right, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a lot about treating people right and respecting people.
Yeah. And they always let me in. Then I started bringing more guys with me. And come on, Liotta. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
That's great.
And that was my story. But there's a lot of stories in there, If you want, once in a while, I'll tell you different stories.
Absolutely. So we're going to brush up on the book. It's called Bread and Bullets by Rosario Liotta. You can get it on Amazon. We got it on Amazon. And I would definitely want to have you back later on, talk shop and talk about the stories in the book.
I had fun with you. You got a beautiful place. I'm really happy.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Do you have a Instagram or TikTok or anything like that?
I don't have anything.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
What? Oh, I hit TikTok. Listen, I had a lot of people wanting to do stuff with me. You know what I'm saying? But they really didn't come true. And I'm the type of guy, I don't answer my texts or nothing. You know what I mean? I'm whatever.
Whatever. But so Ray Liotta.
Rosario Liotta.
Rosario Liotta. The book's called Bread and Bullets. You can get it on Amazon today.
A lot of interesting stories.
A lot of interesting stories. And also, the movie we were talking about is called Casino Jack. I think it came out in 2010 or 2012. Yeah. Kevin Spacey plays Jack Abramoff.
And John Lovett's funny.
John Lovett.
When he opens the door and he goes, goodbye, he lets them in. I mean, it was a good movie.
And so it's a true story about the casino business in Florida,
the Indians,
and how it came to be.
Yeah, with Washington.
Well, thank you very much for spending some time with us. I'm Kyle, and this is Nelson from the 10 Toes Podcast at 10toespodcast.com.
It was nice meeting you guys.
Till the next one.